What's up, y'all? Welcome to the channel. Today, I'm going to review Peacemaker, the podcast, Season 2, Episode 1. So, this episode of the podcast breaks down Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 1. So, yeah, I love this episode. This episode is the main three that have been hosting the podcast. So James Gunn, Steve Agee, and Jennifer Holland, with Frank Grillo and Sol Rodriguez. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Sol. I think her name's Sol. Sol Rodriguez and Frank Grillo are our guests on the podcast this time. And if you guys have seen my Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 1 review, you guys know how much I loved the episode. And I can't wait to see where the DCU goes. In this episode of the podcast, we find out a bunch of information. We find out a bunch of information about how the scene was filmed. The sex scene was filmed. I'm not going to talk about that. If you guys, I strongly recommend you watch this podcast. And also, James Gunn and crew do they do a little documentary on the episode. They release it after the episode as well. So they do this podcast, and then they release a documentary on the episode, a little one, not like the big long Superman one that comes with the digital copy of Superman, but it's like how they did the little ones for Penguin. So I'm also going to cover some of the information that we've gotten in that as well. So yeah, again, I strongly recommend watching this podcast, yeah. So their chemistry, especially Frank and James, are killer. Like Frank Grillo is probably the funniest co-host they have on this show so far. like I can mention one thing about how they prepared for the sex scene. So John Cena, James said he never has smoked a cigarette or smoked weed in his life. So he literally had to learn how to. Oh yeah, this video will have spoilers in it, so watch the episode first. But John Cena wanted to learn how to smoke weed to make it authentic to what Peacemaker's doing in the scene, right? So James tells this story about how the crew members on the show and on the set were teaching John how to smoke weed, and that I found really funny. James Gunn talked about he said everything is canon from now on. Like, we're not gonna have a what's canon section, because everything going forward is canon to the DCU now, unless it says Elseworlds on it, or unless James says that's not canon. But everything going forward is canon in the DCU now, because James Gunn is making it. And he said if there's an Elseworlds label on it, like the Batman 2 made by Matt Reeves, that's going to have an Elseworlds label on it. So that won't be canon, obviously, to the DCU and a few other things. But he said everything in Peacemaker Season 2 is canon to the DCU. So we're not going to do the what's canon section anymore. But yeah, and then I just got to talk about this action scene again, but I said last night was tied with James Gunn's best action scene, in my opinion, which, it's with Jennifer Holland, Amelia Harcourt bar fight scene in the episode. They talk about that. Frank Grillo is an action dude, right? Like, he's done a crap ton of action movies, right? Like, he's up there with Stallone and with Jackie Chan and with Scott Atkins and stuff like that for how many action movies he's done. Um, and he just sings Jen Holland's praises because, bruh, we find out in the episode like she didn't do all of it, but she did most of the stunts in that scene. Which, if you guys haven't seen that scene, watch Peacemaker season 2 episode 1, because that scene, in my opinion, is the best act. Well, one of between the Guardians free scene, like I'm talking about the last scene, like the hallway sequence, and the or the spaceship sequence where they're in the spaceship, and this scene. I think these two scenes are tied for James Gunn's best action scenes, and she kills it, bro. Like the way they filmed, like in the documentary part that they also release, they they talk about the way they filmed the action in this, like, and they're like, they were shocked with how ready Jen Holland was to do this action scene, right? Because she gets, like, again, she gets the shit beat out of her, y'all. Like, it's not like, oh yeah, I'm going fight. No, she gets the shit beat out of her, right? She's also beating the shit out of everyone in there. But, like, Frank Rhodes, like, you did so good. You were incredible. And she goes, Frank, coming from you, that's a big compliment. Because, again, Frank Rhodes done, like, 100 action movies, right? And real action movies. Like Frank Grillo's done The Purge, but he's also done like Warrior and stuff with Scott Atkins and stuff like that. So he really knows his stuff when it comes to action, right? But yeah, like then we find out that Sol Rodriguez originally auditioned for the engineer. Gabriella Gafaria Gafaria got the role of the engineer, and she got called in to be Sasha Bordeaux, and in Peacemaker, and she's like, yeah, I'll do that, right? You can tell this, like, like, especially between James and Frank, like, they carried this episode, bro. Like, they're really, really good friends, right? So, yeah. What else did James talk about in this? He talked about the sex scene, which I can't, like, I like, it's not that I don't want to talk about it, it's that I can't, guys, because if I do talk about some of the stuff they talk about in this episode of the podcast, I'm worried that the video might get flagged. But so I strongly recommend you watch the podcast. And yeah, like, for me, like, I'm just so happy that DC is back, man. Right? Like, and the quality level that they're pumping stuff out at, like, Creature Commandos, really, really good. Superman, my movie of the year, right? Well, between that and Sinners. Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 1, really good. So, yeah, like, for me, I just can't wait to see where this goes, and they did say in the podcast, the action gets crazier in as the season goes on. We still have 7 more episodes left, y'all. So yeah, and then yeah, what else did they say? He said that James Gunn teased we would see other dimensions. Or other, like, they did say multiverse in the podcast, so he did say we would see other Earths and other dimensions in the season going forward. So I'm very interested to see in that. Oh yes, and I told you guys I would tell you who the actor is. So he confirmed who the actor playing Keith is. It's David Denham from The Office, which him, Robert Patrick, and John Cena have great chemistry. Oh yes, and they talked about what I talked about yesterday. John Cena, especially everybody in this season so far. Mind you, it's only been one episode, but everybody in this season, but especially John Cena, really stepped up his acting, right? Yeah. So they talked about that. Got the action scene that they talked about and stuff like that. And yeah. Oh yes, and guys, so now the podcasts are only on Thursdays because they finished covering season 1 before season 2 came out. So they're only on Thursdays. So what I'm going to do, what the schedule is going to be is I do my Peacemaker episode 2 review next Thursday, and then on Fridays, that's the day that I do the podcast and all the other information that James Gunn says in that podcast and the documentary. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do from now on, covering Peacemaker. I hope you all okay with that. And covering DC and Marvel and all that stuff and every superhero thing that I want to cover will be a regular thing on this channel as well. So yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.